Hello everyone, this is Caleb Simpson here from ZeldaDungeon.net, and you are watching our video walkthrough for The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks for the Nintendo DS. This is the second chapter of the walkthrough, which covers the Forest Realm / Forest Land and ends with the Forest Temple, aka Wooded Temple. Now that we have the rail map, we can tap the route icon in the bottom left corner of the screen to draw a path for our train to follow. This will make you automatically turn at specific rails that you have marked once you approach them, but don't worry, you can still manually change it by dragging the lever at the bottom of the screen if you like, so if you need to change course suddenly, that is still an option. Otherwise, you can also just tap the route icon again and simply change your route at any given time. Now you may remember the moinks from the last chapter. These black and white splashed pigs have a nasty habit of hanging out on the train tracks. You want to blow your whistle as you approach them to scare them away. We also have a new enemy here as well called a Snurgle. These fat bat elephant thingies will hover nearby for several moments before striking with vicious intent. Urgh! To avoid them, you want to blow your whistle once they're close to scare them away as well. Now the problem with this though is you need to kind of blow your whistle repeatedly because if you just hold it in initially as soon as you see them and then just keep it pressed down, it's not really going to work. Probably the best method to scare them off is actually to wait until they do their little thing and then just start holding the whistle right then, because when they're closer to you it works more effectively. Anyway, our next destination is the Lost Woods on the far left side of the map. If you already know the solution to this train puzzle, you can just go straight there. Otherwise, you can head to this unexplored village along the way to get some optional hints. In the USA version of the game, this place is called Whittleton, while in Europe it's called Mayscore. Now it's a logging community, which is an important detail to keep in mind for later in the game. At this point that doesn't really matter much, but once there you want to speak with the chief who is in the biggest house to the north, and then enter the houses on either side to speak with those dudes as well, who will tell you the secret of navigating through the Lost Woods. Also, as long as you're here, you could also optionally purchase a shield from the shop here, which is the triangle-shaped building. That costs 80 rupees, so that would be very nice for you to have for these upcoming areas. There are some enemies that the shield could deflect their hits if you are wearing that shield. Alrighty, with information in hand, you want to set course for the Lost Woods to the far west. This area makes you choose which direction you want to go, and if you take a wrong path, it will spit you back out at the beginning. In order to stay on track, you need to watch the tree branches. There's these oddball trees that look different than all the other ones. They're kind of withered. And this first tree for me has a branch pointing to the left as an example, so that's the way I need to turn. Just follow this pattern, following the directions that the first three trees give you. And once you get to the fourth and final tree, however, you want to do the opposite of whatever it says, because that tree has, and I quote, no sense of direction. I believe the politically correct term would be navigationally challenged. We wouldn't want to offend any greenery now, would we? Welcome to the Forest Sanctuary, also known as the Woodland Sanctuary for you guys using the European version of the game. As you run forward, you'll see several yellow spinets, but we also have a new enemy here called a crow, which is an entirely original name. Now, these birds can be found perched atop trees, and they will attack you once you get close enough. Now, on their own, they're really not that big a deal, but when combined with other enemies, they can be a real pain. You often don't even see them until they're starting to attack you. The best tactic is to run away a bit and then either turn around and defeat them, or simply strafe to avoid them entirely. If they do hit you, they'll knock you over and steal some rupees, similar to Takuri in a lot of other Zelda games. Now, don't you just hate it when you're walking along and BAM! You find some blocks right in your path? Oh, it happens all the time. So infuriating. Go right up the ramp, then head south to find some bomb flowers. These things won't stay lit for long, so be sure to pick one up, then hop down and take care of those pesky blocks. Alrighty, so here's the real puzzle of this area that comes into play. We have a few more cracked blocks on this upper ledge, but we can't walk a bomb flower all the way around before it explodes. So how do we do this? If you walk all the way to the right, then cross the bridge here, you'll find a switch here that forms another bridge temporarily. However, it's only there for a few moments. The trick is to use the bomb flowers here to activate the switch instead. This means that it will explode as we're crossing the bridge. So lay down a bomb flower next to the switch, and then you can go snag another bomb flower, and you can head over, unless you did not place the first bomb flower close enough, like that. So then you can toss another one down. Of course, now I wasted my time on that, so I have to do it over again. This is kind of tricky because you have to lay it down next to it, not hitting it like I did there. So this is me tossing it and trying to do it correctly. There we go. Now I have enough time to make it across, and I can blow up the next cracked blocks before this bomb flower explodes. Yay! once you have killed the choo-choos and vanquished the grass, we have another puzzle to solve. If you tap the slate in the middle, it tells you to draw a line between the two statues that are looking at each other. You can go back out and look at them all if you like. I'd actually have my map marked to show which directions they're all looking, so the solution is pretty obvious. But once you have figured it out, you want to tap on the slate again and connect the two statues to open the door and meet up with the second Lokomo, Gage. So, playing that spirit flute. Yeah, pretty much unanimously agreed to be the hardest thing about this game. Oh! Now, being a musician, I play piano, by the way, I personally never really had much trouble with it myself. The instruments in Zelda games have always kind of come fairly naturally to me. I never had a problem with it. But I cannot tell you how many people have sent us messages right after this game released asking for help about how to do these stinking Lokomo songs. I think it's the timing that throws people off. I'm honestly not really sure what it is specifically, but I think different people have problems with different aspects of it. But anyway, I'll try to explain it as best I can. Now we're going to play this duet with Gage. He's going to play one part, we're going to play a different one. And luckily we actually have a metronome in the background, meaning that you can hear this beeping in the background to the time. Ding, doom, 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 that thing. So this way you know exactly when you're supposed to play. But to make it a little more specific, I'm actually going to be marking the top screen just above the notes so that you can see exactly when we're supposed to play in time with the metronome. Hopefully for you guys out there who are not very musically gifted, maybe this will help you to comprehend exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. And if you have more trouble with it, perhaps you can try starting it as soon as I do, and you can just follow along with the video and do it simultaneously, and maybe that'll work for you guys as well. Anyway, to use the flute, you want to tap the stylus in the middle of the lower screen and to hold it, and then drag the flute back and forth to select which pipe you want to use, and then blow into the microphone to play it. Practice with Gage until you can match his rhythm successfully, and then you can quit and do the real deal. So yes, that right there, as well as the remaining Lokomo duets, are generally what give people the most trouble about this particular game. I personally love instruments in the Zelda games. I think they're really cool to have, and I have a lot of fun with them, and they don't cause me any problems, but apparently some people do have problems with it. Although I do think they made the spirit flute a little too awkward. I don't know, I guess the dragging motion just isn't concrete enough for me. It doesn't have as much punch as actually pressing a button or some kind of movement. I mean, you're just dragging it. I don't know, it's not the same. Up ahead, we have a stone that looks like a rocket. Yes! Now, as you approach it, Zelda will point out that it's making noise. That's not a normal occurrence. That's why she's pointing it out, oddly enough. You want to tap on it, and you'll see colored orbs floating out of it, of course. Now, this game isn't super clear about what you need to do next, but tap on the menu button in the corner of the screen and whip out that flute. You want to copy the tune, which is simply blue-orange. So, throughout this game, we will be finding gossip stones who are sleeping just like that one, and you can wake them up by standing next to them and playing the Song of Awakening. This will allow them to give you some useful tips and stuff, and you'll see them throughout the temples and such as well, such as the upcoming forest temple that we're about to go visit. Kind of an unnecessary step, in my opinion, playing a song. You can't just, talk to them, wake them up. I don't understand why you can't just poke them, just tap them on the shoulder and there you go. I guess it's more complicated than that. And even if they are asleep, that's no problem. Nothing a simple bomb flower can't fix. Now, you also have probably noticed the chest that's in this area that's up on that upper ledge. Don't worry, we will be coming back to get that later, and I will show you how to do that. Alrighty, head back to the train and make your way to the Forest Temple. Now, along the way, we have a new enemy that's kind of a staple in the Zelda universe. These fighter enemies have been in almost all of the games in the series, with only a few exceptions. They've been in practically all of them. Now, in this game, they simply get in your way and can be scared off by blowing your whistle. Now, a quick note on how to say it in English. There's some words in Zelda that have very specific pronunciation, and there's others that are kind of vague, this enemy being one of them. Now, with enemies and items in places that have vague pronunciation, I typically try not to make a big deal about it, just kind of whatever you guys decide. It's just a video game, who cares? You can pronounce it however you like. Now, because of this ending of this particular name of this enemy is very similar to the word tarantula, a lot of people suspect that Nintendo is intending that it should be pronounced Skulltula, because it's very similar to tarantula. Anyway, now I personally have always pronounced it Skulltula, and I have for all of my other walkthroughs as well, and it honestly doesn't matter one way or the other. But I think I'm going to try and make myself pronounce it the other way from now on. I only specifically pointed out here because I'm sure that some of you watching this right now may have noticed my change in pronunciation and been like, what's going on? Anyway, alright, that pretty much wraps up this video, folks, so join me for the next one and I will show you how to tackle the Forest Temple, aka Wooded Temple. See you inside.